Don't forget to check out our sponsor, archerypass.com, for all your traditional archery needs. Check out CD Archery, performance ILF risers for hunters to world champions. cdarchery.com, made right here in the United States of America.
What tab are you shooting?
Yes!
Ghost tab, obviously.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers. We have Anthony Santoro, founder of Little Axe Outdoors, by way of Melbourne, Australia. I'm laughing. This is crazy. It's taken so long to get on here with you, and then I messed up. We started again. It was perfect, and I forgot to hit the record button.
Small problem, really, in the scheme of things.
Really? Yeah. Thanks for being so gracious. I appreciate that, Anthony.
No, actually, when we restarted, I actually wanted to turn around with a cat, and like I was ready to do that. But anyway, we're here.
We're here. Hey, my friend, thank you very much for joining. It is great to have an international guest on and someone of your spectacular demeanor and the amount of accolades that you get from this side of the pond, just amazing. So especially your gear. We're hearing a lot about your gear. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, if you don't mind. We'll talk about your company, but I want to get to you and how you started in traditional archery, right? So this is kind of the theme of things. We want to get to know the archer first. So tell us how you get started in trad archery.
Okay, sure. Well, it goes back to when I was about 11, which I'm a bit afraid to tell you how long ago that was, but it was a long time ago. I think Back to the Future was just released, and I wanted to get into hunting. My dad was a hunter when he was a young lad, and as he got older, he continued doing that. But by the time I was born, he'd stopped doing it. But he was mainly hunting with guns, and he didn't want to get back into guns for some reason of his own. So I had to make bow and arrows in my backyard. And I started going hunting with these bows that I'd make in my backyard. And then finally, for one of the Christmases, my parents gave me an actual recurve bow, which was a 56-pound Black Widow. It was like a 1950s Black Widow. It was much too heavy for me, but I joined an archery club and learned how to shoot it. And then my dad bought a bow, my brother bought a bow, and we just became this, little archery family. We were the only ones that we knew in our street and in our neighborhood that did archery. It was very, very rare back then. And I continued doing that till I was probably, I think, 20 or thereabouts. And then, sort of got interested in other things. And I didn't pick it up again until I was about 37, 38 years old. I pick up the bow again. So, and then I've been, just got back into it, hunting, and mainly hunting really is all I do with the bow. So, yeah.
So what are you shooting now? Like, what are you still got that 56-pound Black Widow? Is that what what do you shoot now?
Well, no, funny story with that bow is, my dad was shooting it one day, and it was already a dinosaur. It was probably like 50 odd years old, or nearly thereabouts, and it broke. It just literally delaminated.
Oh.
So that one, unfortunately, got chopped up and thrown in the bin. I think back in the day, I didn't even know it was a really, like, what Black Widow was back in Australia. I knew no one else that did archery. So now I shoot a bivouac bow, a bivouac backland, which is like my favorite bow by far. I just love that bow. They did an amazing job with that. And I just go hunting with it mainly. I do a little bit of target stuff when I'm out in the country and I'm at a nearer range. But other than shooting in my backyard, I just go hunting rabbits, goats, pigs, but I also shoot the gun, so I do go deer hunting a bit with the gun as well.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but you can hunt year round in Australia, right?
Yeah, you can hunt. You can hunt pretty much anything other than native animals all year round. And if there weren't these invasive species like deer, I think that Australia would be a much boring country to go hunting in, because like kangaroos aren't really much sport. They pretty much will hop right up to you. And you can't shoot koalas and, various things like that. So, yeah, we've got this. Someone had the bright idea of bringing out deer, some 100 years ago, and it's been the best thing ever for hunting in Australia.
Yeah, like when I first started doing these interviews, I had Nocturnal Archer he's also from Australia too, and he was telling
he's a good mate of mine.
Oh, is he? Okay, well, he's an awesome dude, fantastic person.
Yeah.
And a great archer, and he said there's like 7 or 8 species of deer there or something like that. I think if I recall correctly, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got sandbars, the biggest. They can grow up to about, like the big ones will get upwards or close to 300 kilo. You've got red deer, they get pretty big. You've got fallow deer, they're the really pretty species. You've got hog deer and chital deer. I think you guys call them axes deer.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing one. There is another kind of deer which is escaped my mind.
But okay, so you're out hunting. How do you take me through? Because did you just get back from hunting? Did you just have were you just out for the weekend? Was that what you were doing or something?
Yeah, that's right. I went up to I did. Yeah, I went to up to the New South Wales, which is about a 5.5 hour drive from Melbourne. Went into the country there, and I was hunting goats and pigs with Jack Spinks and a guy named John Gorringe. They call him Gozza. But yeah, we had a really good weekend just hunting those. We got a bunch of meat, so yeah, it's a really good weekend.
That's amazing. But if you can hunt whatever you want to hunt, no matter what, you don't have a tag. How do you know what you're going up to hunt? It's just
well, it depends where you go. So if I went into the high country, which is northeast of here, I would be hunting, and I went right up high. I'd really only be hunting sambar deer. They're the only ones that get up that high. If I went to the lower country in the east around Melbourne, I would be hunting sambar or red deer. And then if I went to the northeast of the state, it's pretty much fallow and sambar. Sambar pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
If I went into North New South Wales or Queensland, I'd be hunting chital deer. And if I went to where I was, which is sort of northwest from Melbourne in the New South Wales, sort of getting into the outback territory there, it's pretty much goats and pigs. Just something interesting, if you go into the middle of Australia, you've got camels and donkeys.
You don't hunt camels and donkeys.
I don't personally, but people do. Yeah, lots of people will hunt camels and donkeys. Apparently, it's good meat.
Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
No, dead serious.
You're probably thinking to yourself, these guys are idiots. It's probably so intuitive to you, but I mean, honestly, my viewers have no idea. I'm pretty sure no one knows that you can go hunt whatever non-native animals in Australia just anytime you want. You can grab your bow, get in your I don't know what you call them, pickup trucks or whatever, and you guys go out to the outback, or your utility vehicle, and then you go put your bow in the back and you start shooting on some land that you own or someone that owns it. Do you have public land there?
Yeah, in Victoria we've got a lot of public land hunting. It's my favorite place to go hunting.
Okay, now can I ask you another stupid question? Another stupid North American question. How safe are you when you go out there to hunt and you're walking around in the bush, or you're walking around in the outback, or you're like, when I say safe, how likely are you to get bit by a dangerous snake, or like a some sort of animal, some sort of insect or something dangerous, something that kills you in Australia.
That's not a stupid question. It's the most common question you get asked when you say that you're from Australia.
I know.
Not very likely. Actually, you're more likely to get bitten by a brown snake, which is probably one of the deadliest snakes in the world, I think, in your backyard in summertime in suburban Melbourne than you are to get bitten when you're out in the bush. I've seen more snakes locally, and actually they've even had them at my kids' schools. They've had to get removed from the schools than I have in the bush. I've seen a lot of tiger snakes in the bush, but you just got to watch where you put your foot. The alpine copperheads, they usually keep to themselves, or red-bellied black snakes, they usually keep to themselves as well. It's really the really aggressive ones are the ones you find in your bloody backyard when you're doing the gardening. So, yeah, you're pretty safe.
Scary shit. So do you wear gaiters every time you're out in the field?
I do, yeah. I just like to be on the safe side. But some of the blokes I go hunting with will go hunting barefoot. I can't do that, but it's pretty common.
I saw someone wearing shorts out there shooting off the back of your ute or whatever. I don't know if that was you or not. But I saw some stuff on Instagram.
That's Jack Spinks. I'm not a shorts guy, but Jack Spinks and John, quite a few of the guys will just wear shorts. And they don't mind it, but I'm a little bit more wary.
Yeah, I mean, stay safe. Stay safe. I mean, what's the point? I mean,
safety first.
Safety first, my friend. Safety first. Now, do you hunt out of trees? Do you stalk? How do you do it?
I just stalk. Yeah. So when I go hunting deer, I just very slowly walk around the high country. Sometimes you do a sit and wait, but I mainly just stalk. And with the goats, you do the same thing. You just walk around, and there's so many. Like there's so many goats. It's a hunter's paradise, actually. Australia is for an overseas person to come and see what Jack and I and Gozer were walking around seeing on the weekend. It's literally a hunter's paradise. You've got foxes, you got feral cats, you've got more goats than you can poke a stick at. You just need to get stick bow close to them, and then you got pigs that just are living under the bushes. So it's pretty wild. It's a great place, and even you mentioned nocturnal archer Andy. He's been with us out hunting and a couple of times, and I've taken him, and he's able to shoot stuff too. So, and he's got a vision. He's vision impaired, and he can still hunt. So it's a pretty good place.
Yeah, I have like a bazillion more questions on that. I mean, like, you go to public land, you head out, you stalk. Now, is there so goats, is that good meat? Apparently that's good. So do you, so you're in the field, you field dress them and then bring them back, or do you strip them and?
Yep, field dress them. So, I mean, if you can get the ute to it, if you shoot a big enough one, or you don't want to carry it back, you can usually get a ute, especially on the flat country.
Yeah.
Get a ute and throw it in the back of the ute, and then you can dress it back at camp. But with if you're out in the bush or out in the countryside, or in the high country, you just field dress it and put it in your pack and bring it home. And goat meat is amazing. Like it's very, very good meat. It's delicious.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it is. Now you say pack. So what do you carry for a pack? What does like an expert carry?
You mean a backpack?
Yeah, your backpack. What brand are you using?
Yeah, I use my one's called it's a K2 Arctic. Okay. It's a rare handmade bag out of New Zealand that I had made for me years ago. Yeah, but a lot of people carry. That's my favorite pack. It's it's a bit heavier, but it's super tough, and I've taken that everywhere I've been. It's about 90, 100 liters.
You ever think about getting into that side of the business? I mean, you have great packs now, right? So, I mean, how much more difficult it is to do backpacks? You do already.
Well, funny you ask. That's actually how I started Little Axe. Is I started designing a backpack because I wanted to make like the perfect backpack. And I realized that there's a lot of technology and experience that goes into making one of these things, because it's basically an engineered product. You've got shoulder straps, you've got all these little harnesses that go on it. You've got like the tensioners, you've got the waist belt, you've got carbon fiber spars and all this kind of stuff like that. So it's not quite as easy to put together. But from that, I ended up making the first bow case that I released, which was the R1. And that's basically the story of Little Axe.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So that's a good segue into this. So let's talk a little bit about your company and the different products that you make. And so again, you started off thinking, yeah, I need a backpack for out hunting. And then you've transitioned into like a bow carrying case. And how did that?
So the story goes, I had a backpack design, and I'm still working on this design. So eventually in the future, I'm going to release one. But I had a backpack design, and to get it made required a lot more time and effort than I really had at that time. So the lady that I was working with, the seamstress, she said, like, this is very difficult, Anthony. Like, can you make something easier? And I'm like, oh, I'll think about it. And I went home, and at the time I was putting my bow, which was a Samick. I bought a Samick Sage when I was getting back into archery, and I was basically putting it into footy socks, which I suppose you know what people wear playing soccer. They're just long socks.
Long socks, yeah.
And then I was putting it into that, and then I bought a camera lens case, a big long camera lens case, and I'd fold it up and I'd put pull it apart and I'd put the bow in there, and that's what I was carrying around as my takeaway case. And I thought one day, there's got to be a case that I can buy, like a bag that is nice and cool, that I can put my bow in. Yeah. And there were some on the market, but they were very basic. They were either just a long sock, or they were, really, 1950s looking, daggy, unfashionable, sort of case. So I'm like, I need something cool, something that looks like military. So I called this lady up and I said, oh, hey, if I made a bow bag, do you reckon you can sew that up? And she goes, I don't even know what you're talking about, but give me the design and I reckon I can sew it up. So I rocked up with my design, and she sewed something up for me, almost exactly what I was after. And I took it out to, in the country, there's a place called Albury, which is a few hours northeast of Melbourne. And I was at an archery range there, and I had this bag, and it had big square ends, and it was long, and I was showing some of the archers there, and they gave me some advice. And they said, look, if you make it look a bit, like the shape of a recurve bow, and make it a bit longer, and they gave me some suggestions, like, it'll be really cool. So I said, would you buy one? And they go, oh yeah, like we really want to have a case. Like, there's nothing good on the market. So I went back and saw my seamstress friend Sandy, and she sewed something up how I designed it. And I went back to the range with this it's called Twin Cities Archery Club out in Albury, and I showed the guys this case again, and they're like, yep, we'll buy that for sure. So I think that's pretty much how it started. That's when I got in touch with Andy from Nocturnal Archer, and I showed it to him, and he's like, mate, this is awesome. Like, I'll promote it for you. And then that was the story of how we got started.
That's amazing. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to share my screen. And I have never done this before, so we're doing this. We're trying this out on.
All right, let's do it.
Let's try this. And we're looking at your website. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Can you see where I'm sharing?
Sure can, yeah.
Yeah, look at these awesome bags, dude. Like, this is cool stuff. Like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. And
oh, thanks so much.
Well, it just looks like it's good quality stuff. And I haven't seen one yet, but I know that we were talking a little bit about Mo, Trad Bo Newbie, and she loves her. She's like, this thing is, and she takes it on the, urban. She's like throwing it into like streetcars and stuff like that, And so I think, and she's saying that these things are good quality. Yeah, these are. You can just have a quick look at it. That's neat.
Yeah, no. So I'll take you through. So that one that you got to click on there, that one, that's the R1. That's the first case that I made. I made it in black and I made it in the coyote brown color. And that material is like I wanted something that was military grade. And it just turns out that the seamstress lady, she makes stuff for the police and the army and navy. So she said, look, I have this product. It's a 1000 denier or denier, it's pronounced, material. It's Corduro, which is the brand. Yeah. She said, like I have this stuff. It's not cheap. It's not that easy to get, but I've got it and I can make these products up in this for you. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want something that looks that not just looks, and I can honestly say it's military grade. And so that's what we first made it up in. And that denier, that 1000 weave is really heavy duty. Yeah. So and then I got So the next thing on it was the buckles. They're all ITX. That's a special brand as well, but it's all basically military branded stuff. So, or used for military purposes. So super tough.
Yeah, these things look cool, dude. That's so cool. And then you have duffel bags too, which everyone when on a hunting trip they can always use a good duffel that you can throw around and beat up. Yeah.
I mean, what I should have done, Mick, is I should have sent a couple over to you so you could touch them and we could have this conversation about it.
But, I wanted to go through this anyway with you. I think that's pretty cool. Like honestly, you can just tell the quality by taking a look at the pictures. I mean, that stuff looks really good, and it's honestly, it's kind of fashionable too. You know what I mean? It's like it's not ugly. It's really pretty. It's really nice looking stuff. And I don't always like military looking. I don't always like military looking stuff, the fact I need to be tactical or whatever. But you do have you do have good, nice webbing on there, and it's pretty. It's nice stuff. Anyway, I don't want to make this a whole commercial, but I just wanted to. I wanted to share that.
It's okay. Brought to you by Little Axe.
Yeah, there you go. Stop screeching. But it's interesting. Your whole culture, like the culture of hunting, your hunting culture is a lot different than our hunting culture. We're very regulated, right? We're very regulated, and so it's so interesting talking to you, honestly, because I mean, it makes me feel like I want to jump over there. And what's funny? What's funny is I saw Tom Klum over there. I was like, how did he get over there? And he's hanging out with all you cool dudes. And I want to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind. You got a second to chat about that, or did you get a chance to meet him? Or did you get a chance to talk? Yeah.
Yeah. So via a guy named Ben Maher, and just a little bit about this guy Ben Maher. You should really look up Ben. He's probably, and we were just saying this on the weekend, that Ben Maher's like the most unsung hero of Australian archery. And I don't want to blow too much wind up his ass because he'll brush it off and tell me to shut the F up. But Ben's not that much off my age, but he, as a youngster, he got into archery like really hardcore, and he lived a lot closer to the archery shops than I did. He was out in the east and I was out in the north. So, but we both went to the same archery shop as kids, and Ben knows everything about archery, and as a result, he through his I suppose his confidence in talking to people, he met and got friends with Tom Klum and guys like Joel Turner as well, and he brought them out to Australia. Wow. So when Tom came over to Australia, Ben called me and said, "Mate, you've got to come and meet Tom. You two need to talk to each other." And I'm like, okay, yeah, of course. Like, I'm not going to say no to that. So that's exactly what happened. They went to New Zealand hunting. Then they came back to Australia. Ben called me and said, "Come over tonight." And I'm like, "Mate, I'm there." I jumped in the car, went over, and I met Tom and his lovely wife, Chris. We had dinner together, and then we just started talking shop. And that guy is just, Tom is amazing too. Like, I just was in Colorado a few weeks ago, and Tom invited me over. I stayed at his house and like just treated me like his son, actually. I felt so at home. Amazing guy.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
guys. Yeah, I love Tom.
Yeah, Tom Clum, amazing dude. Great knowledge. Shares it willingly and freely. You know, it's just he's just an amazing guy. Which I was surprised that he got over to Australia. I just love that. I love the fact that he gets out internationally. That's cool. I didn't know that Joel had been out too. That's interesting as well.
Yeah, well, I got to meet Joel. And another funny story. Ben's like, mate, Joel's holding a clinic. I think I had something on that weekend and I couldn't go to it, but I needed to deliver a bag to someone that was coming from up bush into the country, into the city. So I thought I'll go and deliver this R2 to him, and I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll say good day to Joel, and then I'll bugger off. But as I arrived at the clinic, it was just wrapping up. I saw the bloke I needed to give the R2 to, handed it over, and then Joel comes up to me and goes, "You're the Little Axe guy." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Have you got your bow here?" And I went, "Well, yes, it's in my car." He goes, "Go and get it." I'm like, and Ben's like, "Go and get your bloody bow." So I raced out to the car, grabbed my bow, and I brought it in. And he goes, "All right, let's shoot some arrows." So he gave me just like literally at the end of the day, everyone had left. He spent probably a couple of hours with me, just taking me through a very condensed version of his course. And I got to say, it totally changed my whole approach to shooting the trad bow. Like, absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
That was, yeah. And it was all just Joel just being generous and really into his archery. He spent that time with me. And like I said, I walked out of there after that 2 hours, a totally different archer. It was amazing.
Yeah, and you say that, and people might think you're being verbose, but I mean, honestly, when even spend just a short time with Tom, he changes the way you're thinking about shooting. And honestly, it's a wave. It is a wave that's going over North American traditional archery. I think a lot of people are just drawing the bow back now, and maybe they were hard aimers before, and now they're not hard aiming as much.
Yeah.
They put it there, and then like he says, you forget it, and then now I start to work my shot process, and people. It just seems like a lot of people going back to that. It almost feels like it's instinctive again. I hate to say that, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. When I was in Colorado just recently, there was another guy that took me hunting, actually, named Gavin Steele. And he took me up into Wyoming and into the high country there. And we went bear hunting. And we didn't see a bear, but it was a great fun day. I come back into Denver, and him and I spent the next day just chatting with Tom. And I was watching these two guys. Like, Gavin's a really accomplished archer and hunter. And of course, Tom is like, tradbow archery royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And these two guys were talking about shot technique and back tension and range of motion, extreme range of motion, the frontal lobes. And I was a fly on the wall for like literally a 12-hour day, just drinking coffee after coffee after coffee. I didn't really have a lot to input, but I was able to listen to these guys talk about the importance of shot placement, practice. And I realized the difference between an Australian archer, and this isn't to say anything bad about our Aussie archers, like we've got some fantastic shooters here, but the difference is that in Australia, on the weekend, I can shoot 20 animals if I'm good enough. And I can probably draw back on, double that if I really got into those positions. But you guys in the States, because you're shooting native animals, you don't have that many opportunities. So that one one moment that you get to have that shot at that animal from a tree stand or wherever it is, that's your moment. Like that's that one moment. It's like, you know, that one opportunity to get that shot placement right. And your nerves, your worry, you know, the hesitancy and all that stuff, the adrenaline that I will get, and probably by the third shot, I'm like, I won't do that again. I've got it under control now. Like that, you don't get that. So you guys get one shot, and I think you shot something a few weeks ago, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I got that guy up there. He's above my thing there. Yeah, I did. One shot, one kill, man. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
that's the difference is in Australia, I can go hunting for a weekend and I can shoot, like I said, if I'm good enough, I could shoot 10 animals, 10 deer, 10 trophy deer if I got in front of them. But amazing. You guys don't get that. So you need to be a lot more specific and practiced than, you know, we really need to be over here. So we're very fortunate here in Australia, but I got to appreciate that listening to these two.
I do think though, you know, in the obvious question is that you guys you have to be as well. I mean, if you draw back on 10 animals, there is not probably one trad archer, like real trad archer in Australia that would go, I'm not, you know, they would probably, they want to make sure that they don't injure that animal, I bet. And so it's still the pressure's there.
Yeah, of course.
You cannot, you know what I mean? Like, so you still have that. All trad archers have that. We all share that. You share that?
Yes. Yeah. So no, you're right. Like definitely we do have that as a factor, but I suppose we just have a lot more opportunity to let one go or, you know, say no to something. Whereas, you know, and when that golden stag walks in front of us, you know, it's not like I'm not going to get another shot this weekend. You know, I mean, sometimes that is the case, but I just really got to appreciate why there's such an emphasis on the mechanics of archery, which in fairness, I didn't really have before I spent that time with Tom and Joel, or actually really with Tom recently. I thought it was, you know, I just didn't think it was as important, and I really didn't understand, you know, you guys in Canada and the Americans, you know, practice and importance that was placed on it. So, but you know, I do now. Big difference.
Yeah. So, have you seen an improvement in your game?
Definitely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like I noticed because Tom spent some time with Jack Spinks and another guy named Ash Brown, who's that guy's like one of the best archers I've ever seen. Ash Brown. He will mind me saying the guy shot a rabbit at, I think it was 70 meters the other day, and he's so cool about it. Like this guy is really good. But like he spent some time with them, and I could see, and they were even saying that, you know, after spending some time with Joel, like they've been a lot more thoughtful about their shot process, and I am too. Like if I'm drawing and I'm not feeling comfortable about it, I'm not like I've got to take the shot anyway. I'll be like, you know, I'll let it down or I'll reset.
Really? Good for you.
Yeah. It's really good. Like I said, that 2 hours, I walked out a different archer, even though he gave me the, you know, Joel Turner abridged version. It was definitely was a big deal for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. So of those, so in your archery now, if you're talking to some young Australian, you know, new archers coming up, what would you tell them is one of, like, what's the best piece of advice you could give them?
Oh gosh. That's a tough question. Well, it's really interesting. I've had to think about that because my nephew wants to get into archery, and he asked me, firstly, what's the best bow that I should get? And I said, just get a recurve bow. Just start with something that you're strong enough to pull back. And I think that's probably not bad advice. Like, just start with a bow that is going to let you to shoot arrows without straining on it, and don't worry too much about anything else other than flinging the arrow. You know, practice your technique later, but don't be too particular to begin with. Like, just just have fun with it. That's how I started. Like I started with a bow I made in my backyard, and I had such a ball with that bow. It was such a fun piece of equipment, even though it was, you know, a stick that basically bent out of shape after a while, and I had to keep, you know, bending it tighter and tighter. And I made the arrows, you know, out of other sticks in the backyard. You know, just enjoy it. Just don't worry about the technique just yet. Just have fun. Get the enjoyment out of sending something, you know, from over here to way over there, which I think is like, that's probably the best part of archery. Like, you know, you ever been to a field, Mick, and just shot up in the air and just see how far the arrow can go?
Absolutely. You know, not the safest thing in the world that I would do, but I used to love doing that. I used to shoot up, and there's nothing better. There's nothing better than seeing a trad arrow fly and see it land. And it doesn't matter where it hits sometimes. I mean, you know, it's just so nice watching that, the flight of an arrow. It's something about it is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's primitive.
I totally agree. It's one of the funnest things I've ever done is in archery. Is we used to go to a football pitch just next door to where the archery club was at the end of the day, and we used to just shoot the arrows up in the air and just see how far they could go. Best fun I've ever had.
Do you know there's a sport that they do that in England? Did you know that there's a sport?
With those old war bows, isn't it?
Yeah, they got circles on the ground at about like 150 yards away, and then it's, you know, you shoot into that circle. That's what they do. So they like they let that sucker go, and you know, it's supposed to mimic like fighting the French or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of cool.
They're always fighting the French. Those English,
aren't they? Though, you know, it's the French. They're always fighting on French soil.
I think they're going to talk about the Battle of Agincourt for another 4,000 years.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. It's so true. And you know what's really popular here right now? It's over there too. It's probably playing Napoleon. I think my youngest or my oldest daughter loves history, right? So Napoleon's in the theaters right now. So I'm going to go watch that and cheer for the French. I'm Irish. I'm Irish Canadian. I'm first generation Canadian. So I'm on the Irish.
Oh, really?
Side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm first generation Irish.
And what? Sorry.
I'm Irish Italian. So my parents,
you're Italian.
Yeah, Italian and Irish. Yeah. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, look, we got something in common then, because I'm part Italian.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Well, you can tell by your name. That's a pretty strong Italian name.
It's a giveaway, yeah.
It's definitely
you can't hide the ethnicity in that surname. But well, you know, like I suppose probably like you, I don't know, archery was not something that was in the genealogy of my family at all. It's like I got into it, you know, I'm really the only person in my family that's into archery, and now with my nephew getting interested in it, that's a whole journey I'm really looking forward to taking. I've got some daughters that showed some interest, but you know, naturally when they sort of grow up to be girls, they start becoming interested in, you know, makeup and stuff like that, and it becomes a bit hard to say, hey, you know, you want to come hunting, and they're like, nah, Dad, I don't want to go hunting.
What's your family?
I got some hope with my nephew.
So your family, you have two young daughters?
Yeah, I got a young daughter. I got one that's young. She's 11, and another one that's 20. So,
oh wow, that's a big switch.
I always have to say they're from the same wife, just because people go, wow, this guy's like been around, but no, same wife. Just took a bit of convincing with the second one.
I've got two daughters as well. 21 and 19. Wow. Yeah, and I had the youngest one convinced that she was going to go hunting, and she actually did sit with me one time. And I bought her a compound bow, and so that she could shoot it more easily, right? And I wanted to take her deer hunting as soon as I could. And so, you know, we wanted to get her something with a little bit, you know, that she could pull back 25 pounds, but would shoot like 35 or 40 pounds. And so, I took her out. We didn't get it. We messed that one up. We messed that hunting trip up. But yeah, I thought I had him convinced, but then she discovered boys, and then that was the end of that story. So I was like, shit.
Yeah, mate. I know the feeling. Look, pretty much the youngest one, I thought I had a chance with her, but the weekend she came back with eyebrow gel, and she was showing me the eyebrow gel, and I just thought, this is one of those pivotal moments in life where you know that your kid's not going to be into hunting. The way she was talking about this eyebrow gel, I was like, no, coming back from this, man. Just concentrate on your nephew. You got a chance.
That's so true. I mean, that's funny. That is so funny, man. But you know what? You never know. She might be the next Australian recurve archery Olympian. You don't know. You
never know. Look, archery's been really good to me. It's archery and just hunting in general, but it's and I'm sure it's got a little bit in store for me to be good to me yet. So I'm trying to be good to archery as much as I can. But I think there's definitely something different about not just trad archers, but archery people in general.
Mm-hmm.
People that have that common enjoyment of sending an arrow somewhere, and we have it's only happened a few times, but we call it a meet and greet run by a guy named Gordo. I don't know his surname actually. He's just Gordo. But he's the Northeast Hunting Adventures guy on Instagram.
Okay. And
he has this meet and greet every Feb in Victoria, and we all get together. And there must have been a good 100-odd plus people at the last one, but we had compound bow archers, trad bow archers, your longbow archers. We all met up and we just had the best weekend. And I'm so excited about the next one. But we just basically had a camp. We all camped out, rolled our swags out, and just drank until the wee hours of the morning. And we just had so much in common.
That's amazing. So we have something called. So first of all, Victoria, let's explain where Victoria is from Melbourne, because that's not, you don't walk there.
Well, Victoria is a state in Melbourne. Sorry, a state in Australia. So yeah, Australia is quite big. I think it's a little bit smaller than Canada. I think Canada is pretty bloody big.
Yeah.
But because of the way the country is, and that the center is sort of they call it the dead center because it's very red and it's not lifeless, but it's very inhospitable. But Victoria is a state that's right down the bottom of Australia, and underneath Victoria there's Tasmania, which is separated by a little sea. But it's this southernmost landlocked mainland state, and Melbourne is the capital of Victoria. So it's one of the coolest states. It's not the weather here. They always make fun of us about how bad the weather is, but the state's still quite big. So right down the bottom, you've got Melbourne on the seaport, but then the state sort of spreads out quite wide, and you've got really dense bushland on the eastern side, which is where the high country is, and the sandbar and those types of deer live. And then on the eastern side, you get probably more your fallow and your red deer. You do get, I think you do get sambar there, but they sort of like more the high country. But yeah, that's where we are. So I tend to go, there's a lot of good hunting just in this state, and it's still a big state.
I mean, so you get everyone from that one state in, or do you get people from all the different, you just call them states or provinces? I forget.
States, yeah. No, we get people from all over the place. So we have, I can never remember how many states there are, but I think there's 5 states and 2 territories in Australia. I should know this. There's 5 states and 2 territories. And now, for some reason, we've got the territories. I don't know why they just don't make them states, but they're different. But there's very good hunting in Northern Territory for, you know, big things like the buffalo and scrub bulls, as well as pigs. But I'm probably a bit reluctant to go there, mainly because there's a lot of crocs, and every story that someone tells you about hunting in Northern Territory has some story about them, you know, just like nearly getting eaten by a crocodile. So I don't need that in my life. It's always like, mate, if I was 2 minutes earlier, I would have got eaten by a crocodile. Or,
Absolutely.
you know, and next to me tent, there was crocodile tracks. It's like, yeah, nah.
I shot a pig. I shot a pig, and I went to go grab it, and we had to fight between me and the croc. That's hilarious.
There is a story that I've heard just like that, and I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, there's pigs here, and there's no crocodiles, so why?
So tell us more. So I'll just tell you, we have this thing in the U.S. too. It's called ETAR, Eastern Traditional Archery Rendezvous. And so I've got a video on my channel about what it is, but it's a massive amount. And we don't have swags; we have sleeping bags, but we roll those out, and we and they sleep under the stars, or they got tents, and they bring the family. It's a real family affair, and it's just amazing, the camaraderie between archers.
Yeah.
And that's why I really love having you on the show today, because I love the fact that it isn't all that different. Even though you're in Australia, it's not that different than being in North America, when it comes to archery.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think that's why you can have your Tom Clums and, your Joel Turners and guys like that come over. Or even when I went and hung around with Gavin that day, like, we had a lot in common, because we do hunt different animals, like very different animals, but we all do it with the same thing. We all use a trad bow or a compound bow, and just that means that I can basically speak the same language. So, I could go when I was over there, I shot a trad bow, and it was no different to shooting one here. It was exactly the same, and the arrows stories, the same. Does it spin the other way?
They spin the other way, the arrows. Oh my gosh!
We have the same culture, very, very similar culture. We all drive utes, or they call them pickups. We all go out to some place and park, and we walk a long way, and we shoot something a very, very difficult way to shoot it, and then we walk it all the way back, and then we afterwards we have a beer and we talk to people about how hard our life is because we chose to shoot things with a traditional bow.
Yeah,
and we share the same stories.
The struggles.
And then you meet someone that goes gun hunting, and they just say, "Why do you do that?" And you go, "Oh, good question." It's fun.
Why do we do it this way? Why do we do? I know why I do it this way. It's a very I'll explain later. But why do you hunt with trad gear?
Personally, it's because I grew up in the city, and I didn't have easy access to guns because my dad didn't want to shoot guns anymore. So to shoot something, and I realized very quickly that I can shoot in my backyard if I had a bow. And I didn't need a license. I didn't need to do a course. All I needed to do was make a bow or buy a bow that shot a projectile.
Yeah.
And I didn't need my dad's permission.
But why do you do it now? But why do you do it now?
Yeah. Good question.
I know, right?
No, I'll tell you why I do it. I do it because I just enjoy it. It's like the same reason I play hockey. I just enjoy the challenge that it gives me. And my work life is very it's high pressure. I work in a construction industry, and it's just always something that has to be done. And I like to go out and I like to concentrate on something that I can only concentrate on that thing while I'm doing it. I can only concentrate on, shooting or, hunting that animal or being as quiet as possible. I can't stalk it and be thinking, I got to send that email on Monday morning. I've got to reply to that guy. That guy still owes me 20K. That bastard. I can't think of that. And I'm forced not to. So it puts a lot of distance between, mental distance between my life and my activity, because you can't think of anything else. And I wouldn't say that's why I do it, but I like the feeling, so I continue to do it. And even if I miss or I stuff up the shot, or I still keep thinking about it. Because the other thing that is, you're in the wilderness, and you have to pay attention when you're in the wilderness, because you can get lost very easy. And the moment you sort of go and walk off without thinking about something else, instead of where you are and paying attention to where the sun is or where you're heading, and your cactus, you're lost. And like those things demand your attention.
That's amazing. So that's a great answer, by the way. Fantastic answer. I think I don't think that my story is not as terrific as that. I think my wife told me, listen, it's more about giving the animal a chance and saying you're not allowed to do it easy. If you want to hunt, if you want to hunt animals, you need to work at it. You need to have a skill. It can't just be easy. It can't just be looking through a scope and shooting and pulling a trigger. You have to practice, and you have to continually work. You have to work at it. And as you know, I mean, the week that you don't shoot arrows is the week that you decline in your skill, in your ability. It's not something, and maybe it comes back a little bit faster for us now that we've had experience, over years, but you can't go days and days without shooting arrows and expect to jump back out, just go out in the field again. You got to bring your target out. You got to get back in shooting shape as a trad archer. I don't know. So we talked a little bit about your tackle, but I didn't get to all the details. So what weight are you pulling back on your bow? Did you mention that?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I think it's around about 59 or 60 pound.
Holy shit.
Something like that.
59-pound bow.
Yeah.
And
but I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it. Yeah, I say that because I know it's upwards of 55 pounds. It's just I just haven't paid a lot of attention to how I've tuned it recently, because I've tightened up the anchors on it. It's a ILF bow, but I've just got it really, really tight. So I should actually weigh it, but yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I couldn't tell you what my FOC is.
You don't need to. But what arrows do you shoot? What?
Yeah, I shoot the gold tip kinetics.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yeah. So I'm shooting these. So these are just gateway feathers.
Yep.
And these are probably my favorite. Like, these are my favorite arrows. They come with a ballistic collar on it already.
Yeah, nice.
So,
really?
And then they're really cool. So yeah, they come with these little things here. So
yeah,
which I always had trouble with, because I was shooting the gold tip traditional, but when you hit something, as you know, probably they just destroy the arrow if you're out stumping or you miss and you hit a stump. So I needed a collar, and that saved my arrow many times. And then this is a 200 grain. I shoot a 200 grain broadhead. I think it's about 225 or 230 up front, thereabouts.
What's the spine on that? Like 340 or something?
No, funnily enough, it's only 400. So even though I've got a heavier bow, I found the 400s, they just work. And it's because I haven't really been a setup guy. Like, I don't want to keep mucking around with. I don't enjoy just tinkering that much.
Yeah.
So I like to just get a bow. Yeah. So I sort of just worked out what my poundage was, worked out what the arrow needed to be, and what spine I needed. And I did try various things. I tried the 340s, 300s and stuff. But for whatever reason, just with the 200 up front, this just works. So I don't really muck around with it very much.
Are you shooting?
Otherwise, these gateway feathers are just.
Yeah. Any particular reason why?
The gateway feathers are.
Go ahead, man.
You go.
I'm saying the color. The color.
Yeah, man. No, I was just saying that. Yeah. These are just easy to find. So I've made a bit of a habit of just keeping this color. Plus, when you're shooting with a whole bunch of other guys that tend to shoot white, like if you're at a range or something like that, I think this orange and blue. I find it easier to find in the scrub.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. You're not supposed to go in the scrub, though. You're supposed to go in the target. Tom and Joel are terrible coaches. I mean, they're supposed to. That's lesson one. You're supposed to hit the target. I don't know what's going on
every time.
Every time. All right, we're coming to the end here. Is there anything that I missed that you want to chat about?
No, I think I will say that I enjoy being an archer in Australia. I think we don't have a big community, and especially in the trad bow. I don't know if you've ever been to a gun range, but I find it a very most unenjoyable thing. It's very loud. It's and unless you're really into guns and you really like the sound of or the feeling of ringing ears, it's not something you want to do all the time. And although I do like shooting guns, I much prefer bows, because mostly you can have a conversation as you're shooting with guns. You can talk about things. And probably I didn't say that, but like when I do go hunting and when you're walking around or when you're at a range, you can have that conversation with someone and find out something about their life. And I probably made some really, really good friends. In fact, one of my good friends that I have made through archery before Instagram even was just a guy that I met because he out in the bush, that he was an archer, and we would go hunting rabbits and just talk, and we'd talk about everything. And during some pretty tough times in my life, it kept me sane. So awesome. That's really probably a better answer as to why I stuck with archery.
Yeah, that's amazing. I tend to agree. I mean, it's a much more social activity than the rifle range, for sure. I mean, I shoot a lot. I shoot a lot at the rifle range. Like I go to the range a lot. But you're right. It's once a week is probably enough, right? But archery, it's like you could probably do it 3, 4, 5 times a week if you wanted to, and it just still, right, yeah. As long as you stay healthy.
Don't have to wear earmuffs at the archery range. That's right. That's what
I do when I don't want to talk to other people, when I see someone I don't like at the range. Hey, are you? Yeah. But I worry about, how old are you?
40. I'm nearly 48, actually. 48 in a couple of weeks.
You don't fucking look it. I'm telling you that right now. But here's the thing: get rid of that 59-pound bow, because I don't. Anyone listening, he's doing it wrong. I'm going to be flat out. It's too heavy for you, man. You got to be careful. You got to take care of that body when you get into that 50-year-old age. Like, you can't be just like pulling back 60 pounds arrow.
I can loosen the bolts a bit, and it does come down in poundage. So I might take you up on that.
Yeah, like 2 pounds. You're gonna go down to 55 pounds. I honestly, there's nothing I can't kill here. There's nothing I can't kill in Kansas that at like 40 pounds.
Is that what you shoot? You shoot 40?
Well, no, I'm lying. I mean, my setup right now is 45 pounds. I think it pulls in right at 45 pounds at 30-inch draw. But and it zips too, and here's the other thing is I'm shooting Uka X50s limbs, and I'm pretty close to 100 feet per second. Like, it's fast. Super. Like, that's why it doesn't. I mean, like, you get these older bows, and they're, the limbs are like, 60 pounds, and you're not doing that. You're using ILF limbs, but they don't have
Yeah.
they're just slower. You just got to pull more weight. But now with these new limbs, ILF limbs, you can get away with lighter stuff. So at least I can. You probably shoot out. I heard you shoot out to 70 yards. I hear you shoot rabbits at 70 yards. So you're gonna need something.
It's funny that the guy, like your Jack Spinks guys like that, they're using like 69-pound bows. So when we go, I got like one of the lightest bows on the baby.
Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me. That is crazy.
Yeah.
What are they trying to kill, buffalo?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they wanted for. They shoot a heavy bow, but and it's for that purpose. And like that guy Ash Brown, he shoots a heavy bow as well. But I've always had a heavy bow. I think when a 54 to 59-pound bow, because that was the first bow I ever got was that 56-pound Black Widow. So as a 13 or 14-year-old, I'm using fairly heavy, obviously with a smaller draw, but I'm using a fairly heavy bow. And just when I got back into it, I put again a 55-pound Samick, and I just never really went below 50. So I probably should take your advice as my body gets a little bit older, but I'm probably not going to admit that I'm getting older until sometime.
I'll be honest with you. I think I just moved to. I've been hunting 10. I've only been hunting 10 or 11 years now. So about 11 years, and 11. Yeah. 10, it's only been like 5 years that I've been in the 40s. So, and I'm 54. So, at 49, I started. I changed that around 49. But up until 49, I was shooting 55, 60-pound Hoyt buffalo. Yeah. I was shooting all day long. Yeah. I was like, no, you need to pull this much weight back, and those arrows need to fly fast. So, yeah. And if it didn't scare you,
years in, at least.
What's that?
I got a couple of years by that because you were 49 when you changed. So I've still got one more year at least.
One more. You start to work until you get your arm gets. And you just wake up in the morning and go, "What the heck happened?" Oh yeah, I shot 5 arrows yesterday. Then you're like, maybe I might need to get some Luca limbs and go down to 45 pounds. Because I think that's kind of funny. I mean, like when I go out to like 3D ranges and stuff like that, there's still like the old school guys. There isn't a lot. Well, there more and more people are coming down in poundage here. It's a trend, and I mean, again, 5-6 years ago, you couldn't find anyone with like shooting 3D. That was, that like a local 3D course, they were all in the 50 pounds, the 50 and above. But now it's like, okay, well, we only need X amount to get there. So, but I still see the older guys.
I don't know if you know Kai Furno, a good friend of mine. She's like action woman, but she only shoots a 35-pound bow, and she's shot everything. I think from alligators to pigs to deer and goats, just using 35 pounds. She's got a 35-pound bear super grizzly, and she kicks ass with everything on that.
Anthony, I'm concerned that you don't watch my show ever. So Kai's been on the show too. She's I know. Anyway, I'm just joking with you, dude. But yeah.
Well, it's funny because I was gonna. I do believe I have seen Kai on the show, but you're right. I probably should watch more often.
She was on. I've had a couple of people from Naked and Afraid on now too. So I'm trying to get. I'm working on all the people that go on Naked and Afraid. It's crazy.
When I first met Kai, we were actually when I first met Kai, we were goat hunting, and the subject of Naked Afraid came on, and she goes, "Oh, would you ever go on that show?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Why?" No. And Jack was there as well, and I said, "Well, there's two things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being naked, and I'm afraid of being afraid. So I'm not going to go on that show."
Nor No, the accent's amazing too. Just I want to, before I go too much further, Anthony, your accent's amazing. I love it. We don't get a lot of differentiation. We get Southern accent, we get and then we get neutral accents, but yeah, the Australian accent's always fun to hear. So, I want to again thank you very much for being on the show. It has been amazing. It's good catching up and talking. I felt like I know you already anyway, but it's nice to talk to you in person. And again, thanks for spending time with me and taking time out of your day to chat with our viewers. And I think it's an amazing story, man. Being in Australia is amazing. Your company, amazing. Go check them out. Little Axe Outdoors, or that's
Thank
.com,
you very
right?
much.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. And then on Facebook, you can Little Axe on Facebook, Little Axe on Instagram.
Yeah. So on Facebook it's just Little Axe Outdoors. If you search that, you'll find it. On Instagram, it's little.axe. Remember, no E on the axe, just little.axe. And the website was littleaxeoutdoors.com. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, there's a .com.au site, so littleaxeoutdoors.com.au. I ship to everywhere, so if there's a road and you got an address, I can post something to you. I would also like to promote that in Australia, Archery Supplies in South Australia have the Little Axe products. Three Rivers stock the Little Axe products, the R2s, and so does Tom Clum at Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear. Yeah. So I'd like to support them. I would like to say to you, thanks very much for having me on. I think what you do for archery, especially traditional archery, is great. I love and having the Aussie guys that you've had on. I'll have to watch Kai's show, but having Nocturnal Archer and having guys like Mo and everyone else that you've had on has been great. I can recommend a bunch of people for you to have on as well. But until that time, I want to say thanks very much for having me on and telling you my story. I really appreciate it, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was amazing. Again, thank you so much. I love that you have other people that you can hook me up with. So by all means, we want to hear some more Australian stories. It's just an amazing culture, an amazing way that you guys do your hunting. And I love the fact that you're hunter first. So that's pretty cool. And actually, we'll spend more time. Next time I talk to you, we should spend more time about your hunting philosophy. I think we kind of skimmed over that. So I apologize to our viewers. We probably should have got more on that. Anyway, so thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Till then, hunt the good stuff.